what other tools do you think could be valuable in a coaching setting around this topic?
Well, I mean, if you're looking at coaching from a holistic perspective, just about any coaching tool, I think, can be particularly helpful. You know, we have the perspective tool to talk about perspectives. With the clients that I work with, when I think about wellness in my clients, I often think about like the big things that come up for my clients that when they're not feeling well, so to speak, is, you know, self-doubt, lack of confidence, you know, feeling like not enoughness in their writing. So inner critic, future self, things like that. But I will say, I think this is just completely my opinion, not necessarily based on research, which I typically like to talk about. But I do feel like from a wellness perspective, visualization techniques can be really, really helpful. Whether that be a visualization technique built around sort of calmness and mindfulness, all the way up to a visualization technique to take the future self and, you know, get somebody out of their present mindset and all the frustrations that they're dealing with in the moment, and say, okay, well, 10 years from now, you've fixed all of this stuff and you're now in a much better space. Now let's start talking about, you know, what does that look like? Paint the picture and then help them build toward that. So I think those are some of the ones that, you know, the visualization techniques to me feel like they can be a really great playground for helping a client build their wellness. What about you? What are some tools that you would think are helpful from a wellness perspective?
I would agree with the ones that you're talking about. I do use mindfulness a lot in my practices and in exec coaching as well. So often people are surprised by that, but I actually get asked to get people grounded at the beginning of even, I did some presentations earlier this year, and it's a data analytics company, and it was something really new. We were doing coaching there. We were looking at growth mindset and leadership starts with self. And actually I was leading a cocktail panel, and people were like, oh, you know, that grounding thing that you do, can we ask you to get everyone grounded? So kind of just holding that space, part of my brand as well. It's a bit of bringing the yin and yang together, you know, the strategic mind and logic and the strategy pieces, but how do we bring those together with emotional fitness, you know, with being still and the mindfulness. And I think one of the blessings to come out of the pandemic really were people recognized the opportunity to be still and look after themselves. And I like to talk about, we've got something called the pause series that we're doing in my business, and some of that comes from even the benefits of pausing in a conversation or pausing in coaching. And if I think about myself as a leader, I know that my whole energy can be disrupted, or the way I show up or how productive I am, just right from how I start my day in the morning. You know, I don't have my phone plugged in my room. Both my husband and I don't have our phones near us at bedtime. They're actually plugged in the laundry room, so which you have to walk to get to the phone. So little things like not starting the day with, for me, just watching the news or opening the phone and looking at all the emails that have come in. You know, anything that's gonna, there's like a ripple effect or a domino effect of some of the things that you might not have left behind the day before. And that kind of sets us up. And then how do we show up for others when we're kind of agitated or overwhelmed or just a little bit worked on?
Yeah, I think everything that you're saying, you know, all of this really ties well to wellness, because I think sometimes people see wellness as, you know, physical health, mental health, diet, nutrition, sleep, but we don't think about those little decisions that you're talking about that create wellness. You know, what do you do with your phone? that's part of my mental organization is I've become a little bit more attached to my phone. And so I don't like that. So I've been practicing. I use my phone as a baby monitor for my puppy right now. So I need it at night, but I do like, I'll put my phone in my bedroom while I'm working during the day. So it's not a distraction during my work day. But it's those little decisions that I hadn't, honestly, until you said that, hadn't thought about. But like, how does that contribute to your wellness? We make hundreds, if not, well, thousands is probably a lot, but hundreds of decisions every day. So how can we make sure that the decisions that we're making, even the smallest ones, are contributing to our wellness? And so something as simple as starting your day on the right foot, well, what does it look like at night then to make sure you set yourself up for a morning that gives you that headspace? And then what do you need to do in the morning to set yourself up to have an effective evening routine? And, there's a cyclical process that happens there. It's all these little tiny decisions that lead to that. And I think that is the beauty of sort of where coaching can help in with developing systems. So now when you think about tools, a systems tool can be really effective when you think about those tiny things that need to be done throughout the day in order to build more of a wellness mindset.
Yeah. And you're just reminding me as well of, I remember a while back getting into a habit of, I'm not on a lot of mainstream social media, but I love TikTok and I love watching the videos and, some of the funny ones, or I learn a lot from it. And a while back, I found myself was getting into a habit of just scrolling through at certain times, like having a break and scrolling through, or at nighttime before I was going to bed. And as I was exploring this with my own coach, actually what I realized was I needed to find a way to disconnect. My coach helped me to explore that. And actually, why did I need a way to disconnect? Because I was neglecting really important pieces of my wellness. And some of the times I was running on low in terms of, if we think of ourselves with that battery, because I wasn't getting the opportunity to recharge, and I had fallen back into, which some of this is in line with my values, and values work for us and sometimes they work against us, or I can be a bit of a workaholic. I've said this before, people have heard it. Getting into overly indulged in that side of things, and not enough space and not enough time to be still. I actually have a coffee table book that's called Nixon, and it's The Art of Doing Nothing, as a reminder to just sit and do nothing.
I love that. Yeah, it's a challenge for those of us who have, especially there's a lot of coaches out there who are coaches and have a full-time job. And, some of the coaches out there that are full-time coaches or have a coaching practice, a full-time job, and children. Like, I have a dog and I can imagine trying to do it with children. So, you're right though, like that mind, and especially for women, there's a lot of data out there that says that, women tend to be a little bit better at multitasking because like we're sort of programmed to do a lot of things and have a lot of things in our minds. And so definitely thinking about the way that we can disconnect and find some more inner peace, that calmness, that mindfulness that you were talking about earlier, that's going to play a really big part in wellness and developing a more well-rounded feeling of being well.